Rostov the Great is only 125 miles northeast of Moscow. It's one of the most ancient cities in Russia, which was founded in 862, during the same time as the founding of Russia itself.
Rostov the Great is the fatherland of the whole northeastern land of Rus. Here, in 991, the first cathedral of the Assumption was constructed, and then the first Russian Rostov-Suzdal eparchy was set up. Prince Vladimir, with clergy and his armed force, Christianized Rostov citizens in Lake Nero. To commemorate this event, last year the memorial cross was erected here. From this place, the shores of Lake Nero, Russian Orthodox Church started to spread all over the country.
Churches, temples, and monasteries inside Rostov the Great are not in bad conditions, thanks to tourists traveling along the Golden Ring. But in the rural area around the city, the situation is completely different. About 50 churches and one monastery are left standing without roofs and domes. Some of them are practically in ruins. Some villages have shrunk enormously. There are abandoned fields left neglected around lonely churches. These ancient villages, as well as the great city, are rich in spiritual and historical assets. An example is the ancient village, Ugodichi, whose citizens were the first to support the appeal by Prince Vladimir to embrace Christianity. In commemoration of this event on the shores of Lake Nero, just overnight, a wooden church in honor of holy martyrs, Kyrakos and Julieta, was constructed.
Ugodichi, a village in Rostov region. Here stands the Church of Saint Nicholas, the Wonder Worker. In 991, when Prince Vladimir Christianized Russia, the first oak church in Rostov Princedom was built. It happened just overnight. The church was named in honor of Saint Kyrakos and Julieta.
Holy martyrs Kyrakos and Julieta are well respected worldwide. People pray to them for happiness and for sick children's recovery. Old manuscripts contain the detailed hagiography of Kyrakos and Julieta. They describe the dispute between Saint Kyrakos and Igumen Alexander over faith, acts of God, as well as the holy martyr's prayer he offered before his death. In his prayer, St. Kyrakos besought the Lord to grant pardon of sins, abundance, and joy to the homes of those who would remember the day of his martyrdom, and in the memory of him would give alms and feed the poor. He asked the Lord to save from death people who would pray to him in their misfortunes. Jesus Christ, manifesting himself before the martyr, promised to fulfill the requests in full. Beside the Church of St. Nicholas, there is an even more ancient five-altar church of the Holy Theophany.
One side chapel in this church is dedicated to Saint Kyrakos and Julieta. The church was constructed in the 17th century.
In the time of persecution, the church was demolished. The bell tower without a dome is all that remains. We strongly believe that the Lord will grant help and benefits to people who will restore the ruined church with the chapel of Saints Kyrakos and Julieta, as was promised to Saint Kyrakos before his death. On the outskirts of Rostov the Great, there are many other churches which need to be reconstructed. And not only churches need to be restored, but also everything around them. There are many abandoned fields and neglected farms. Rostov the Great is the motherland of Russian Christianity. In addition, this area is a birthplace of Russian agriculture, with a history of vast cultivated fields and vegetable gardens. Since ancient times, the fertile, productive soil around Lake Nero has fed not merely Rostov citizens and people in other regions of Russia, but also those who live far beyond Russian borders. One example is the famous Rostov green peas that were canned and delivered to France in the medieval period. To restore the destroyed churches and the past glory of Rostov vegetable gardening, we have established the charity foundation, Rostov Pravoslavny, which means Orthodox Rostov, named after Saint Leontius, the Bishop of Rostov. At the first stage, the Epiphany Church with the Kyrakos and Julieta Chapel in Ugodichi village is planned to be restored, and then the church is to organize the first Orthodox farming community.
There are about 50 ruined churches around Rostov. Here we can see one of them. The whole foundation was built in the 19th century, but this temporary wooden church stands on the foundation of the bell tower of the 18th century. Now services are conducted here. Village Blagoveshchenskaya Gora used to be a lively populated place. Many houses, farmsteads and other structures. Now you can see there are only a few houses. Before revolution there were 2 brickworks and a potato plant. It provided Russia North with dried potato. The objective of our charity foundation Rostov Pravoslavny, named after Saint Leontius, the Bishop of Rostov, is not limited to church reconstruction projects. We want to bring this land back to life, to restore the most important thing, industrious and active people who are fond of their job, their country, their village. The restoration of entire Russia as a state depends on the restoration of such churches and the Orthodox agricultural communities around them. For if one social unit, for example a family or a village, is restored, the state will function well, and the life of its citizens will get much better.
We ask everyone who respect and admire the martyr saints Kyrakos and Julieta and want this land to be renewed, to give something toward this endeavor, for the sake of Saints Kyrakos and Julieta, and to support the organization of the first Orthodox farming community.